Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. President Trump spent much of his day in Ohio, holding a rally at an Army tank plant and telling Buckeye State supporters that he is fighting for American workers. Then the president turned his rhetorical sights on the late Senator John McCain, saying he did not get the job done for our great vets in the VA. 7 months after his passing, Senator McCain was on the president's mind and in his public comments numerous times today. And that was only the beginning. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts joins us from the North Lawn. A busy day. Good evening, John.
Brett, good afternoon to you. The president should have had an easy win this afternoon, a visit to an Army tank plant that was revitalized by increased military spending that the president ordered, and new jobs were created. But instead, the president stepped all over his message, going after a man who has been dead for 7 months.
I'm thrilled to be here in Ohio.
In Lima, Ohio, in the plant where they build the Abrams tank, President Trump chose to continue his feud with Senator John McCain, who died last August.
So I have to be honest, I've never liked him much. Hasn't been for me.
The president opened up the old McCain wound over the weekend, criticizing him for handing the Steele dossier over to the FBI, and doubled down today.
John McCain received a fake and phony dossier. And what did he do? Didn't call me. He turned it over to the FBI, hoping to put me in jeopardy. And that's not the nicest thing to do.
President Trump also hammered McCain for torpedoing the repeal and replacement of Obamacare, but said, regardless, he gave the senator a glorious send-off.
I endorsed him at his request, and I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted, which as president I had to approve. I don't care about this. I didn't get thank you. That's okay. We sent him on the way, but I wasn't a fan of John McCain.
It was too much for some Republicans. Georgia Senator Johnny Isakson today tearing a strip off President Trump.
It's deplorable what he said. That's what I called it from the floor of the Senate 7 months ago. It will be deplorable 7 months from now if he says it again, and I will continue to speak out.
McCain's daughter Megan, who was furious over the president's initial criticism, today said her father would probably appreciate how much he got under President Trump's skin.
I think if I had told my dad, 7 months after you're dead, you're going to be dominating the news and all over Twitter, he would think it was hilarious that our president was so jealous of him that he was dominating the news cycle in death as well.
On his way out the door to Ohio, the president renewed his criticism of Robert Mueller's investigation.
Never figured that one out. Man gets appointed by a deputy. He writes a report.
The president did say that he is comfortable with the report being made public.
Let it come out. Let people see it. That's up to the Attorney General. We have a very good Attorney General. He's a very highly respected man. But I want to see the report. And you know who want to see it? The tens of millions of people that love the fact that we have the greatest economy we've ever had.
President Trump also lashed out again today at the husband of one of his top officials, slamming Kellyanne Conway's husband, George, for suggesting the president is mentally unstable.
He's a whack job. There's no question about it.
In an interview with Politico, Conway sided with the president over her husband, saying, "You think he shouldn't respond when somebody, a non-medical professional, accuses him of having a mental disorder? You think he should just take that sitting down?" Conway also told Politico that the president is defending her, that he could have just said, look, this is all becoming too much of a distraction, and sent her packing. Instead, she says he is doing exactly the opposite. Brett?
John Roberts, live on the North Lawn. John, thanks. More on all this with the panel.
Don't forget, Reince Priebus was the first one to learn that he was fired by tweet. That was a long time ago now. But this thing that's going on with the president, Kellyanne Conway and her husband, George Conway, really has an unusual pathology to the whole thing. Over the weekend and on Monday, George Conway kept tweeting about the fact that he believed that the president had some sort of mental disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, suggested that the president was not mentally stable enough to hold the office of the president. The president fought back. Kellyanne Conway stayed silent until today, when she did a brief phone interview with Politico in which she said of the president, quote, "But do you think he shouldn't respond when somebody, a non-medical professional, accuses him of having a mental disorder? You think he should just take that sitting down?" Kellyanne Conway siding with the president over her husband, going on to say, "The president is obviously defending me. He could privately gently say to me, honey, you're a distraction. We love you. You'll always be part of the family, but go be with your kids. They need you. Go make $1 million an hour. Go do that, honey. It is the opposite. So the president and Kellyanne Conway both defending each other. And meanwhile, Kellyanne Conway's husband, George, is kind of out there twisting in the wind by himself. There are some people who speculate that maybe the two Conways are setting themselves up for a Carville-Madeline sort of thing after Kellyanne Conway leaves the White House, but that is only rank speculation. The president also this afternoon, and this just happened, Neil, going after Senator John McCain again in a huge way at the only plant left in the United States that builds tanks. It's the Lima, Ohio tank plant where they build the M1A1 Abrams tank. And the president, who renewed his feud with John McCain over the weekend over that dodgy dossier that John McCain said a long time ago he got and thought he'd turn it over to the FBI, the president going after McCain on that and his Obamacare vote this afternoon. Listen to this.
I've never liked them much. Hasn't been for me. I've really probably never will. But there are certain reasons for it. John McCain received a fake and phony dossier. And John McCain got it. He got it. And what did he do? Didn't call me. He turned it over to the FBI, hoping to put me in jeopardy. When he finally had the chance to do it, he voted against repeal and replace. He voted against at 2 o'clock in the morning. Remember, thumbs down. We said, what the hell happened? He said 2 hours before he was voting to repeal and replace, and he went thumbs down. Badly hurting the Republican Party, badly hurting our nation.
Now, Senator John McCain's daughter, Meghan McCain, over the weekend showed outrage over what the president had said about her father, did it again Monday morning on ABC's The View. But today on The View seemed to sense the irony in John McCain continuing to have the president's goat. Listen here.
I think if I had told my dad 7 months after you're dead, you're going to be dominating the news and all over Twitter, he would think it was hilarious that our president was so jealous of him that he was dominating the news cycle in death as well.
But Georgia Senator Johnny Isakson, a close friend of Senator John McCain, did not see any irony in it at all. Listen to what he said on Georgia Public Broadcasting earlier this afternoon.
It's deplorable what he said. That's what I called it from the floor of the Senate 7 months ago. It will be deplorable 7 months from now if he says it again, and I will continue to speak out.
So there you go. Some of the president's Republican colleagues slamming him for what he's saying about John McCain. You know, Neil, we thought going into today that the feud with John McCain might be over, but then just suddenly out of the blue at that tank plant today, the president said, you know, I get asked a lot about John McCain. Well, let me tell you what I have to say about that. It was really quite interesting.
He cannot let go. All right, John Roberts, thank you very, very much.